There is a silent behavior almost forbidden that turns any man into someone impossible to ignore. A simple gesture yet calculated that awakens the deepest layer of female desire, the part she tries to hide even from herself. Machiavelli taught that power is never in the act of chasing, but in becoming the one who is chased, and that is exactly what you're about to learn. You want the truth others hide from you? Then listen carefully to what I'm about to say. There is a quiet truth almost no man ever notices. A woman never chases a man who tries to win her over. She chases the man who intrigues her. Predictable people are disposable, but the one who shakes her emotional structure becomes unforgettable. That is where the Machiavellian game begins. A game very few truly understand. To make a woman chase you endlessly, you do not need to be perfect. You only need to be a presence she cannot decode. And everything the mind cannot understand, it tries to pursue, to solve, to possess. Female attraction is not logical, it is strategic. And when you master that logic, you stop being just another man. You become the exception she is afraid to lose. The mistake most men make is trying to be the good man, the attentive man, the always available man. This creates gratitude, but it never creates desire. Machiavelli already warned, the one who gives too much becomes irrelevant because what is abundant loses its value. What captures a woman's mind is not the excess of your presence, but the precision of your presence. When you show up, the impact must be so powerful that she feels your absence even when she tries to forget you. This is not created with romantic gestures. It is created with posture, with the feeling that you have your own inner world, a world that does not revolve around her, a world that pulls her like a silent magnet. You are not seeking approval, you are not chasing, you are not trying to prove yourself. And this absence of need is what drives her wild because it challenges her ego and dismantles her emotional defenses. Every woman tests not because she is manipulative, but because she needs to know whether you are emotionally strong enough to lead the game. When she takes long to reply, provokes you, acts cold, it is nothing but an experiment to measure the impact she has on you. If you react, you lose. If you remain composed, you awaken something deeper, respect. And from respect, attraction is born. What nobody ever told you is that a woman does not chase you for what you show. She chases you for what you hide. She does not want predictability, she wants mystery. She wants to feel that she still does not fully possess you. This triggers an ancient instinct almost animal, the instinct of conquest. When she realizes she does not have emotional control over you yet, she begins to try. First subtly, then openly. Machiavelli would teach control is always more powerful when it does not look like control. To build this dynamic, you must master the rhythm of your presence. A woman should never know exactly when you will appear, but she must always feel when you do appear, you change the emotional atmosphere around her. This balance between distance and impact is what creates emotional addiction. Do not try to be constant. Be unforgettable. Do not try to be obvious. Be impossible to erase. When you bring intensity and then disappear to live your own life, she starts thinking about you even when she doesn't want to. She misses the way you make her feel, not the image of who you are. And that feeling is stronger than beauty, stronger than charm, stronger than any poetic words. It is pure psychological chemistry. But here is the secret very few men dare to admit. For a woman to chase you, you must be able to handle the emotional discomfort that most men run from. The art of silence, controlled coldness, strategic patience, all of these require a strong emotional backbone. If you collapse at the first test, she sees you as weak. But if you stay steady, she realizes you are rare, and everything rare becomes desired. Human beings only value what they fear losing. If you are easy to keep, you are also easy to forget. If you are impossible to lose, you are impossible to desire. The main lesson of this entire part is simple. A woman chases the man who does not fall to her tests, who does not beg, who does not lose himself. The man whose presence is powerful, and whose absence is even more powerful. The man who keeps his essence steady even when she tries to shake it. This is the man who lives in her mind, who returns in quiet moments, who appears in her thoughts even when she swears she has moved on. This is the kind of man Machiavelli would write about if he were explaining seduction today. The man who leads without raising his voice. The man who wins without running after anyone. The man a woman chases because deep down she knows that losing someone like him would be unforgivable. And women cannot bear losing what they know they will never find again. A woman starts chasing only when she feels the man is slipping out of the control she tries to create. This is the crucial point. It isn't about being indifferent, it is about being unshakable. The female mind does not bond with what gives itself too easily. It bonds with what touches a part of her she cannot dominate. When she looks at you and realizes that her compliments don't buy your attention, that her silence doesn't break your confidence, that her moods don't move your emotions, something shifts inside her. Her mind creates a silent question. Why doesn't he react like the others? And that question begins the chase, because the search for the answer turns into fascination. Women always watch a man's emotional strength. Always. And this is where most men lose. Any sign of desperation, anxiety, or urgency destroys your power. Anything given too fast is never valued again. Strategic coldness, on the other hand, is a subtle weapon. Not the childish coldness used to make her jealous, but the calm coldness of a man who stays on his path even when she tries to pull him into her emotional storms. This coldness doesn't push her away, it pulls her in. She starts wondering why she cannot shake you, why your presence doesn't change according to her moods. And when you become emotionally unpredictable, she begins studying you, observing you, desiring you. The real secret is simple: show no need at all. The man who needs validation becomes a broken mirror. She sees only pieces, fears, and insecurities. But the man who desires himself, who is complete in himself, who lives independently, who protects his mind, goals, and purpose as his highest priority, that man creates a level of attraction most women cannot resist. She doesn't chase you because she needs you. She chases you because she wants to understand you. She wants to know why you don't bend to the emotional habits she uses on other men. She wants to see what you are made of. This desire becomes even stronger when you master the art of selective presence. Women do not want men who are always around. They want the men who show up with impact and then disappear to live their own lives. When you appear, you change the energy in the room. When you leave, you create a space she feels deep inside. She feels that emptiness in her chest when you are gone. And this contrast, your intensity when present and your silence when absent, creates emotional addiction. But for this to work, your absence must have real weight. It's not about ignoring her just to play a game. It's about stepping back so you can grow, build, and evolve. Your life must have movement, purpose, and ambition. She must see that no matter how important she is, she will never become the center of your world. There is a strategy that very few men understand. Never compete for her attention. When a man fights for a place in her life, he becomes trapped in her frame. But when you behave as if it is natural for her to come toward you, the energy changes. Her mind interprets this as value. She may have many options, but when you act like the prize, not the competition, she starts seeing you differently. And the prize is always pursued. Being chosen is normal. Being desired is common. But being chased, that belongs only to the men who flip the dynamic without ever showing effort. And this shift happens when you learn to never reveal everything. Do not reply instantly. Do not show all your feelings. Do not put your entire heart on display. A woman must always feel that there is a part of you she hasn't reached yet. Once you become fully accessible, her interest fades. But when she senses hidden depth, something she cannot completely figure out, she is drawn in automatically. This is human nature. We chase what feels bigger than our understanding. The most Machiavellian part of this is that you do not force anything. You simply live it. You live like a man with options, ambition, and presence. And most importantly, you live like a man who can walk alone. This separates the common man from the man women chase. The ordinary man fears being alone, the rare man is comfortable in it. And when she sees that your absence isn't a trick to gain attention, but a natural part of who you are, she understands something almost no man can express. You do not belong to anyone, and that is exactly why she wants to claim you. Here is the truth. No one says out loud. Women chase men who do not bend, men who stay in their posture even when faced with beauty, charm, or emotional tests. Men with strong souls, controlled silence, and grounded presence. It is not about mistreating her, it is about refusing to let her set your rhythm. It is about not being shaped by her mood swings. And when she sees you are unshakable, she begins breaking her own walls just to reach you. She starts sending the first message. She tries to keep conversations alive. She seeks your presence. Because she knows if she doesn't, another woman surely will. To make a woman chase you endlessly, you must understand a hidden instinct in female psychology. A woman opens herself to a man who challenges her, not aggressively, not stupidly, but structurally. A man who does not bend, does not fall apart, does not lose himself. A man whose presence feels like an invitation, but whose inner world remains a territory she has not fully entered yet. When she realizes she hasn't fully conquered you, it awakens something inside her that goes far beyond desire. It awakens emotional ambition. And when a woman feels ambition instead of comfort, she starts to pursue. This entire dynamic is never about beauty, it is about emotional impact. Handsome men entertain her for a few days. Emotionally rare men stay in her mind for years. What makes a man rare? It's simple. She cannot move you the way she moves everyone else. Her tests, her provocations, her emotional tricks, none of them affect you. What works on 99% of men has no effect on you. And that makes you the only one she truly wants. This kind of power can never be bought, begged for, or forced. It is built through who you become, through your presence, not your words. There is something deeper, too. Women naturally desire men who carry a controlled darkness, not destructive anger, but a silent intensity. An inner fire she can feel even when you never show it. The most attractive masculine presence is never the loud one, not the overly social one, not the man desperate to be noticed. It is the man who watches more than he talks, who sees more than he reveals, who stays centered even when life tries to shake him. She senses that strength. She knows a man like that cannot be easily owned, and whatever cannot be owned must be pursued. This is why so many men fail. They reveal too much too quickly. They express feelings before she even has time to miss them. They give attention before she earns it. They rush to prove they are good, kind, safe. But anything given without resistance loses value. As Machiavelli said, what arrives too easily becomes invisible. The difference between the man she forgets and the man she chases lies in one skill, the ability to control emotional flow. When you bring intensity and then return to your own world, you create a kind of emotional scarcity that activates her hunting instinct. She feels that if she doesn't move, she will lose you. And that mix of desire and fear is what makes pursuit begin. Here is one of the deepest, most hidden truths. No woman chases a man who gives himself fully before she does. A woman only pursues when you hold a slightly higher position in the psychological dynamic. This isn't toxic behavior, it is natural polarity. When she senses she has not fully won you emotionally, a light turns on inside her. She starts investing more. She initiates conversations. She seeks your presence, your view, your attention. Because feminine desire does not grow in complete certainty. It grows in controlled uncertainty. The feeling of, I want him, but I don't fully have him yet. The biggest mistake you can make is acting like a man who needs her. The smartest move is being a man who chooses her. The difference is massive. When you need her, she leads. When you choose her, she follows. What keeps a woman attached is the awareness that you want her, but do not depend on her. That you value her, but do not surrender your power. That you make space, but never give away the throne. There is no such thing as a woman who is out of reach for a man whose absence is more powerful than everyone else's presence. But that absence must be created wisely. Not as a punishment, but as a result of living a life so full that you simply cannot be available all the time. It means having goals, projects, training, business, progress. It means being so devoted to your own evolution that she understands. To be part of your world, she must earn a place in your routine. This doesn't push her away. It pulls her closer because she sees that you do not live for her. And women deeply respect men who have worlds of their own, men fueled by purpose, not neediness. At this point, many women begin coming forward on their own. They send messages without any reason. They look for excuses to see you. They try to fit themselves into your schedule. Every signal she sends becomes an emotional thermometer. If you respond with desperation, you break the frame. If you respond with calmness, strength, and steady presence, you pull her in even deeper. A woman's interest grows when you respond with calmness, not with excitement. When you give her only measured attention, you quietly increase her desire. The Machiavellian secret is simple. Do not give her the intensity she wants. Give her the intensity she actually needs. Do not give her attention just to feed her ego. Give her presence in a way that feeds her desire. Desire grows from doubt, mystery, and the emotional impact you create when you show up. And it grows even more from the silence you leave when you walk away. In the end, a woman only chases a man who becomes unforgettable. And no man becomes unforgettable by speaking nice words. He becomes unforgettable when he makes her feel something she has never felt before. It is the feeling of standing in front of a man she cannot control. A man she cannot shape, cannot bend, cannot manipulate. When you become that kind of man, you stop being just an option. You become a presence in her mind, something she wants close yet fears losing. And that fear becomes the fuel of her deepest desire. There is a very specific moment, almost invisible, where a woman's psychology changes. It happens the moment she realizes that you do not depend on her reactions to stay who you are. Most men bend when a woman changes her mood. Most men get nervous when she pulls away. Most men panic when she becomes silent. But you remain steady, untouched, as if you live on a different emotional level. This creates an impact she cannot control. And whatever a woman cannot control, she tries to control. This is where the pursuit begins. Not from romance, but from a psychological need to understand and possess something she cannot grip. The strongest doubt a woman can ever feel begins here. Why doesn't he bend for me? This doubt doesn't simply make her curious, it starts to consume her. She sees that you do not react to tests, you do not break under silence, you do not shake under pressure. And the more she tries to affect you, the more she discovers that she can't. This activates a deep, almost ancient instinct inside her, the instinct to win the kind of man other women cannot influence. She sees value in your emotional resistance because true masculine steadiness is rare, and anything rare becomes precious. Something subtle and Machiavellian takes place here. You begin to lead her emotionally without showing that you are leading. Masculine seduction is not about speaking, it is about atmosphere. When you appear calm, with straight posture and a steady gaze, she feels something. When you disappear for a few days to focus on your own life, she feels something else. When you return again, she feels another shift. And when you vanish once more, the feeling intensifies inside her. She becomes caught in this dance of impact and absence, presence and distance. It is like an emotional pendulum. Every move you make changes something inside her. The intensity keeps rising until she must act to release the tension you create. The truth is simple. A woman does not chase because she loves chasing. She chases because her mind refuses to accept losing something she sees as valuable. Value to a woman is not how much you love her. Value is how much you stay centered, how much you keep your axis. The man who stands strong through her tests is the man she desires. The man who collapses is the man she forgets. In the end, seduction is not about charm. It is a continuous psychological examination. A woman is always testing your stability without even realizing it. And every time you remain calm and unaffected, you rise higher in her mind. She begins to feel something she cannot control. And whatever she cannot control, she begins to want. That is the essence of powerful male presence. Quiet, centered, unshakable. A man passes every test a woman gives when he keeps his composure during the emotional storms she creates. This is not a toxic game, it is simple human psychology. Nothing pulls a woman in more than a man who does not break under emotional pressure. When she complains expecting you to chase or beg for attention, but you respond calmly, she feels two things at the same time: frustration and admiration. When she tries to provoke you with subtle remarks and you stay centered, she understands she has lost an old weapon. And when she sends confusing signals and you behave like a man who has options, she realizes you are not like the rest. Slowly, a new feeling enters her mind. He is above the average. This feeling begins to destroy the certainty she once had. And the more this happens, the more she becomes invested in you. sometimes without even knowing it. A major mistake many men make is trying to prove their worth. Real value is never proven through words. Real value is shown through silence and behavior. It is in how you take care of your life, not in the speeches you make about it. It shows in how you dress, how you walk, how you look at the world, how you work, and even in how you stay quiet. It is the natural respect you command without ever demanding it. What truly attracts a woman is not who you claim to be, but what she feels in your presence. That feeling cannot be faked. Either you have the energy of a man with inner strength, or you look like a boy searching for approval. And women can sense the difference from far away. Here is another Machiavellian truth. Never let her know exactly how much you like her. Do not hide your interest in an immature or dramatic way. Hide it in a natural, calm way. Show her enough interest to keep the tension alive, but never so much that she feels completely secure. Female desire grows from a little doubt. When she is unsure that she fully has you, she tries harder to get you. But when she believes she has completely conquered you, she relaxes, and relaxation kills desire. Uncertainty keeps it alive. This is not manipulation, it is simply understanding how emotional dynamics naturally work. She will begin to compete for your attention. First, in small ways: late-night messages, random questions, carefully chosen pictures. Then, more directly: invitations, complaints about your absence, small emotional pressure to get more of your time. The less you respond to her emotional rhythm, the more she tries to respond to yours. And when you finally give her a little attention, it feels like a reward. This is how human psychology works. What is difficult becomes valuable. What is valuable becomes a priority. And when you control how much of your energy you give her, she begins to align herself with your emotional center. Then the shift happens. She starts to fear losing you. This fear is not insecurity, it is recognition of value. She now understands you are not easily replaceable, that you are not available to everyone, that your presence has weight. And the more she fears losing you, the more she wants to hold on. This is when she invests more, chases more, shows jealousy, tries harder to please you, and moves closer emotionally. Deep down, the truth most people avoid is this. Women value men who are not emotionally available to everyone. They value men who have an inner world, silence, depth, discipline, patience. Men who do not put a woman at the center of their lives, but make her want to enter the center of theirs. When you become that kind of man, she chases you not out of need, but out of desire, the strongest kind there is. There is a moment in the dynamic between a man and a woman where everything changes. It is when she imagines you with another woman. This may sound small, but it is one of the most powerful psychological triggers in the female mind. Not because women are naturally possessive, but because women measure a man's value by what other women see in him. When she senses that other women notice you, desire you, or appreciate you, her perception shifts instantly. You stop being an interesting man and become emotional territory she wants to claim before someone else does. This silent fear, even if she never says it, ignites her deeper desire. But this switch only happens with a man who has his own life. A man who orbits around her, who puts her at the center of everything, will never activate this trigger. A man with purpose, ambition, direction, that is the man she looks at and thinks, if I don't make an effort, he won't wait for me. This thought is extremely powerful. It flips the emotional dynamic. She stops being the one who decides and becomes the one who fears losing. And a woman who fears losing is a woman who chases. Ordinary men ruin this entire process because they show their intentions too quickly. They reveal that they are already surrendered, already impressed, already available. This kills all emotional. A man becomes unforgettable to a woman when he does not melt from attention, does not lose himself because of a smile, and does not collapse when she gives or withholds affection. This is exactly what makes your energy addictive. You are the only man who does not revolve around her, and this is what makes her revolve around you. The masculine presence that pulls a woman in the deepest way is not constant presence, but selective presence. When you choose when to appear, rather than appearing out of emotional need, when you speak to her with calmness instead of hunger, when you look into her eyes without rushing or begging, as if you are observing more than reacting, This destroys her defenses completely. She feels she cannot move you the way she moves others, and that is exactly what makes her try even harder. The biggest paradox is this: the more freedom you show, the more emotionally trapped she becomes. Your independence becomes her obsession. Here is a raw truth most men never understand. Women desire men who carry a shadow, not a dangerous or violent shadow, but a controlled one. A silent depth, an intensity that is not shown loudly, but felt quietly. She feels this shadow in your gaze, in your calmness, in your refusal to panic. That shadow is what separates a good man from an unforgettable one. A good man is simple and predictable. An unforgettable man has layers. A good man talks too much. An unforgettable man observes. A good man tries to please. An unforgettable man makes her curious, nervous, and unsure. It is that inner shadow, that depth, that makes her want to explore your mind, because she feels there are doors she has not yet opened. And when she has no access, she tries to earn it. Every woman wants to feel special enough to enter a place no other woman has entered. When you don't give everything at once, she feels the need to conquer more. This is the moment she begins offering more affection, more attention, more closeness. Not to manipulate you, but because her psychology works like a locked door. When the door is wide open, she loses interest. When the door is slightly open, she tries to push through. One of the most Machiavellian truths of attraction is this: women connect with how you make them feel, not with what you say. You make her feel something powerful when you are not desperate for her attention. When you stay masculine even in the presence of beauty, charm, and emotional games. When rejection does not break you. When compliments do not inflate you. When her coldness does not shake your inner world. This is emotional dominance, and emotional dominance is the foundation of feminine attraction. Then the most important phase begins. The phase where she invests more than you. This is when she reaches out first, sends unexpected messages, starts conversations, tries to prove she is still present. She does this because she senses you are not attached, and lack of attachment creates magnetism. Ironically, the less you try to hold her, the more she tries to get closer. Human nature works like this. We chase the things that aren't in our hands. She starts noticing tiny details about you: your silence, your self-control, your patience, the way you don't react to emotional chaos, the way you don't fight for attention, the way you never panic. This activates a realization inside her: you are not like the rest. You do not follow the usual pattern. You are an emotional challenge, and challenges are irresistible, especially to women who think they are too strong to chase or pretend they don't care. But all of this only works when you live on your axis. You first, your life first, your purpose first, your mission first. She joins your flow. She is not the flow. This structure makes her notice her own behavior changing. She realizes she wants you more than she expected. She thinks about you more than she wants to. She rereads old messages, she remembers small glances, she reconsiders her actions. This is the moment she starts chasing, not because you forced it, but because walking away feels impossible. When a woman sees that you do not react to the emotional triggers that make other men collapse, something strange and deep happens inside her. It's like her image of you becomes sharper, darker, more mysterious. She senses a depth she cannot fully understand, and that mystery pulls her into emotional territory she cannot escape from. When a woman realizes that you don't react to emotional tricks that easily control other men, something begins to shift inside her. It feels as though the picture she had of you starts gaining new depth, darker, calmer, and harder to read. She senses that there is something in you she has not fully understood yet, something she cannot predict or influence. And the moment a woman feels this, her curiosity turns into desire. She starts noticing that her usual strategies don't work. If she goes silent, you don't chase. If she provokes you, you don't break. If she pulls away, you remain centered. This shocks her because most men collapse under these pressures. But you don't. You stand firm, almost untouched. And the more she tries to shake your emotional balance, the more she sees that she can't. This creates a psychological pull stronger than attraction. A need to understand you, to decode you, to conquer what she cannot control. This is where the chase truly begins. A woman does not pursue a man simply because she likes him. She pursues a man because he becomes a psychological mystery. The man she cannot move becomes the man she cannot forget, and the man she cannot forget becomes the man she starts chasing. Her desire is not for your body, it's for the emotional strength you carry. Your silence becomes a message. Your calmness becomes power. Your lack of reaction becomes dominance. She sees in you something other men don't have: emotional stability under pressure. This stability creates a contrast that highlights your value. Most men bend, but you stay in your axis, and that difference becomes unforgettable. As this dynamic continues, every small action you take becomes amplified in her mind. When you appear, she feels it. When you disappear, she feels it even more. When you return calmly, she feels that too. And each moment creates a deeper emotional impact inside her. She becomes caught in this subtle push and pull that you create without trying to manipulate anything. It's not a game, it's natural masculine presence. Your presence creates intensity, your absence creates longing. Your return creates confusion she enjoys. This emotional rhythm becomes addictive to her. She starts paying attention to you in ways she didn't expect. She thinks about you when she shouldn't. She checks your messages, tries to read between the lines, replays your words, analyzes your silence. Your calm reactions make her question her own emotional power. She wonders why she cannot affect you the way she affects others. And that question eats at her. It pulls her deeper. The truth is simple. A woman doesn't chase because she enjoys chasing. She chases because she fears losing something valuable. And value, to a woman, is not measured by how much you love her, but by how much you stay in control of your emotions. When you show that her moods do not control you, her interest grows. When you show that her silence doesn't scare you, her attraction intensifies. When you show that her games don't reduce your confidence, she begins to see you as a man above the average. This above-the-average feeling is exactly what creates emotional investment. She starts testing less and investing more. She initiates conversations. She reaches out first. She tries to get your attention without admitting it. This shift happens naturally, not because you force it, but because your inner strength demands it. You become a challenge, and challenges are irresistible. But this only works when you live with purpose. When your life has weight, when your identity is bigger than her attention. You must be a man who is already full, with ambition, with goals, with discipline. When she sees that you have a world of your own, she wants to enter that world. She wants a place in your routine. She wants to be part of your story, not your entire story. A woman falls the hardest for a man who doesn't make her the center, but makes her want to earn a place near his center. Over time, she sees that the more she tries to read you, the deeper you seem. Your silence becomes meaningful. Your reactions become rare and valuable. She starts offering more affection, more time, more attention. Not because you asked for it, but because your emotional independence pulls her in. She notices that you stay calm even when she tries to create chaos. She sees that you don't beg, don't chase, don't fold under pressure. This makes her feel that you are not an ordinary man. You're not controlled by impulse. You're not shaken by temporary feelings. You stand on a foundation that she cannot break. That foundation is what makes her respect you. Respect then turns into desire. Desire then turns into pursuit. This pursuit is not loud or dramatic. It begins quietly, in her thoughts, in her imagination, in her small decisions, in her unexpected messages. She begins checking on you more, asking about your day, giving hints she didn't give before. She feels bothered by. A woman starts realizing something important the moment she feels you are not chasing her the way other men do. When she senses that you are calm, controlled, and emotionally centered, you suddenly become a priority in her mind. Even if she meets other men, talks to them, or goes out with them, she doesn't feel for them what she feels for you, because emotional impact cannot be replaced. Her body reacts to your silence, her mind reacts to your gaze, her ego reacts to your selective indifference, and her heart reacts to the fact that you are the only man she cannot bend or control. She begins sending small signals to pull you closer: photos, comments, hints, light provocations, carefully timed messages. And each one of these attempts reveals a simple truth. She has already started trying to win you. When a woman tries to win you, the chase has officially begun. This is the stage where she thinks about you more than she admits, talks about you with her friends, checks your social media, pays attention to your lifestyle, and notices every tiny detail. And all of this happens because you didn't let yourself become just another man. Women chase the man they fear losing, the man whose absence would hurt, the man who is not dependent on her for emotional validation, the man who does not orbit around her but stands firm in his own center. A man women desire, admire, and value has silence, depth, purpose, and emotional strength. A man like that becomes both an emotional threat and the strongest source of desire. When a woman realizes you didn't fall under her charm, didn't lose yourself in her beauty, and didn't collapse under her emotional tests, something powerful happens inside her. She starts feeling a mixture of frustration and fascination. Frustration because her ego expected you to behave like most men do. Fascination because she discovered a rare man who does not dance to her rhythm, but moves according to his own purpose. This psychological contrast hits her deeply, in the best possible way. It makes her want you in ways she cannot fully control. Then her behavior starts changing without her awareness. She replies to your messages faster. She becomes more attentive to what you do. She pays attention to every word you say. She feels jealousy about things she never cared about before. It all happens silently, but anyone who knows how to read signs can see it clearly. When a woman begins to adjust her energy to match yours, she is already emotionally captured. Female desire does not grow from comfort. It grows from tension, uncertainty, and the feeling that she must earn something valuable. You become the source of that tension, not because you manipulate her, but because you are simply living your life with purpose and self-respect. And during this phase, something deeper begins. She starts competing with herself. Not with other women, with herself. She wants to look better for you, behave better, be more feminine, more attractive, more interesting. A woman only enters this phase when she believes the man has real options, when she believes other women notice him, when she realizes he can choose someone else if he wants. This puts her into a silent, emotional alert mode. In that state, she tries harder, even if she never openly admits it. Inside her mind, a private battle begins. Does he like me? Am I doing enough? Does he miss me when I'm not there? And the more she asks these questions, the more emotionally invested she becomes. Female psychology responds to intensity, not softness. And the intensity you carry, your composure, your silence, your controlled desire, is what makes her want to conquer you. She feels she doesn't have you fully. She feels your interest, but not your dependence. You want her, but you don't need her. This strikes her deeply, because she has finally found a man who does not place her above himself. This emotional balance is rare. Most men surrender their value instantly. You don't. And that is why she naturally rises to follow you. She starts trying to impress you. She talks about her achievements more. She sends better pictures. She hints at things to get your attention. She tries to appear more valuable, more present, more attentive. Not because you asked for it, not because you begged, but because your silence and your standards silently taught her something. Your time is precious, and not everyone gets access to it. And here is the truth. Few people understand. When a man lives with value, purpose, and inner strength, he does not need to prove anything. His presence itself becomes proof. A man with real value does not need to announce it. He simply breathes it, and a woman feels it instantly. Women have a sharp inner radar for detecting presence, discipline, ambition, and authenticity. When they sense these qualities in a man, their energy shifts towards him. They pay attention, they become alert, and eventually, they chase. Then comes the Machiavellian part of attraction. The more she tries to understand you, the more she gets lost. You don't reveal everything. You don't open your heart in one day. You don't expose your fears, your insecurities, or your deepest emotions right away. Not because you are emotionless, but because you are selective. And male selectivity is one of the strongest psychological triggers in female attraction. A woman wants to be the one who is chosen above the rest. She wants to be the one who gets access to the layers no one else is allowed to touch. When she realizes that you do not open the door of your inner world easily, every small gesture from you feels like a privilege. and that privilege consumes her thoughts. She starts building stories in her mind about you. She imagines how you would react if she suddenly disappeared. She wonders if you would miss her or simply move on. She pictures you with another woman. She questions whether she is special enough to be irreplaceable. These thoughts begin to create emotional pressure inside her. She starts watching your social media more closely. She studies your timing, your silence, your patterns, your absences. Every time you pull back, even slightly, you become more present in her mind. Your silence becomes a story. Your distance becomes desire. Your lack becomes her need. This is how the pursuit begins, not because you trapped her, but because her own psychology created the chase. If you continue to stay calm and steady, if you don't panic, don't beg, don't chase, don't collapse, she intensifies the pursuit. She calls you without calling. She hints without admitting it. She tests you to see if you will react. And when you don't fall for the test, she returns with even more effort. This is the stage where many women start doing things they would never do for other men. They begin preparing something special for you. They send affectionate messages. They show up with a softness they hide from others. They seek your presence, your touch, your voice. This comes not from submission, but from deep admiration mixed with rising desire. But here is the darkest truth. The more she invests, the more fear she feels. Because every emotional investment carries a risk. And the moment she feels that she could lose you, her mind grips onto you even tighter. She interprets your silence as danger, your distance as the possibility of loss. And the idea of losing a man she considers rare becomes unbearable. Rarity is the most powerful psychological aphrodisiac. You become rare when you do not offer yourself in abundance. You become unforgettable when you refuse to become predictable. You become desired when you do not appear desperate. You become chased not because she needs you, but because you create emotional impact. And when a woman feels deep emotional impact, losing you becomes a fear that overshadows everything else. She knows that a void like you cannot be replaced. She knows that another man cannot bring the same intensity. She knows that what she feels has crossed the line of simple attraction. When a woman reaches the point where she thinks about you constantly, acts on impulse, checks your movements, and tries to predict your next step, it means you have invaded her mind in a way she cannot undo. But the real power is not just reaching this stage, it is staying there. The ordinary man wins a woman and then loses her because he cannot maintain the energy that attracted her in the first place. The rare man keeps his emotional power forever. He never stops being the man she first noticed. He never loses the depth, the presence, the mystery, the self-control. And that is why he keeps the connection alive, keeps her desire active, keeps her chasing without even trying. The man who remains consistent in his strength becomes unforgettable. And unforgettable men are never replaced. Silence, strength, direction, selectivity, purpose. A woman is drawn to a man who neither puts her on a pedestal nor disrespects her. She chases a man who creates a space she wants to enter, yet never forces her in. One thing must be clear. When she starts feeling she is close to winning you over, never make the fatal mistake of giving yourself completely. That's the trap most men fall into. She shows interest, he melts. She shows affection, he kneels. She sends a sweet message, he responds as if he already belongs to her. And that is where desire dies. Female desire thrives on mystery, depth, and meaningful silence. When you reveal all your layers, when you become predictable, when you act like just another man, the flame slowly fades. The secret is simple but requires maturity. Be present, but do not give your entire soul. Show interest, but do not be overly available. Be firm, but not needy. Be affectionate, but on your own terms, not when she demands it. This is how you keep emotional tension alive. Desire needs tension. It is the oxygen for attraction. There must always be a little distance, not a gap, just enough for her to want to come closer. This is the space of mystery, respect, and magnetism. What keeps a woman chasing is the feeling that, even when she is near, there is still a part of you she hasn't touched yet. A part of your mind she hasn't explored, a part of your silence she hasn't decoded, a part of your life that runs independently of her. Emotional autonomy like this is irresistible to strong women. Women do not want to dominate a man. They want to be chosen by a man no one can dominate. This is a deep truth of the female psyche, one few speak about. Being chosen by a man who does not bow to anyone is one of the highest emotional experiences a woman can have. But to reach this, you must first choose yourself, your life, ambitions, direction. You cannot abandon your path to chase someone else. Love is not a prison. It is shared freedom, and you only share it with someone who truly deserves it. This stance creates a powerful polarity. She aligns herself with you naturally because she sees that you do not need her. You want her. Being wanted, not needed, is one of the most powerful experiences for an emotionally mature woman. Women respect men with internal authority. This authority is quiet, not loud, arrogant, or aggressive. It is the ability to maintain your value, space, and identity even while in love. A man who loves without kneeling, desires without losing rationality, and commits without losing himself. This balance is rare. The moment she senses it, she feels privileged. You don't have to say it, she feels it. And what is felt is always stronger than what is spoken. Then comes the natural fear of losing you. Not childish games, but the quiet fear that arises when she sees your value. This fear keeps her attentive, present, and investing in the relationship. She knows that if she doesn't care or maintain the connection, you will simply move on. She fears losing not what you do, but who you are. Losing an ordinary man is easy. Losing a rare man leaves a mark, and women avoid that pain with everything they have. You become unforgettable when you set an emotional standard. When she realizes no one else offers the same calm, strength, and depth. No other man understands her silence like you do. No other man keeps his life as a priority while still desiring her. This contrast creates respect, attraction, and a bond that can last months, years, or even a lifetime. In the end, everything comes down to one truth. You do not win a woman by chasing her. You win by becoming the man she fears losing, yet admires too much to let go. You become this man by mastering your energy, controlling your emotions, and living your life with purpose. Never beg, force, or pressure. Be firm, intense, deep, and free. She will chase the man who does not try to please, but naturally pleases. The man who does not explain himself, but is impossible to ignore. The man who gives himself selectively, with presence. The man who does not need her, but chooses her. This is the man who stays forever in a woman's mind. This is the man Machiavelli would admire,